What's up, everybody? I'm Graham Mitchell. This is The Peak in Truth. And today on Gaslighting 101.
Trump, Putin, Russian collusion.
Trump, Russian sort of collusion.
Trump, Russian, possible collusion. Trump, Russian metal collusion. Trump, Russia, possible collusion.
Trump, Russian, potentially collusion.
Trump, Russia, possible collusion.
Trump, Russian, possible collusion.
Trump, Russian, collusion. Trump, Russia, Russian collusion. Trump, Russia, possible collusion.
Russian hacked our election. Here comes a big change. Because all of a sudden, Trump, Russian, possible collusion.
Russian collusion.
Trump, Russian, possible collusion.
Trump, Russian, possible collusion. Trump, Russians, collusion.
Collusion with the Russians. Trump, Russia, possible collusion. Trump, Russia, possible collusion. Prove collusion. Prove collusion.
Was there collusion?
Absolutely.
Trump, Russia, possible collusion.
Trump, Russia, possible collusion.
Trump, Russia, possible collusion. Trump, Russia, possible collusion. Trump, Russia, possible collusion. Trump, Russia, possible collusion. Trump, Russia, potential collusion. Trump, Russia, potential collusion.
And the Kremlin and be in collusion with Putin and the Kremlin and be in collusion and Putin and the Kremlin and be in collusion with Putin and the Kremlin and be in collusion. This president in collusion with Putin and the Kremlin and be in collusion. This president in collusion with Putin and the Kremlin and be in collusion.
All 17 intelligence agencies.
17 agencies.
17 of our intelligence agencies have confirmed.
17 different United States intelligence agencies. 17 of them.
The Democrats are full of shit. So this is one of those many lies that have been told to us by the Democratic Party. Trump, Russia collusion. Isn't that something? I mean, the funny thing about it is they don't even realize that people can see through their bullshit. And, thankfully to Elon Musk and others, independent creators who are waking people up, more and more people are starting to notice the bullshit that the media and the left have been peddling predominantly to susceptible minds, women, people of any type of specific alphabet group, and minorities. And frankly, to be honest with you, I'm just sick of it. I'm sick of it because the more you start to pay attention, you start to look into history, do your research, and discover the truth. The more you see, the more you can't unsee, if you know what I mean. It's really disgusting the lengths that these people will go to just flat out lie straight to your face. And particularly Black people, I want to say we've been allowing this for far too long. And it's about time that comes to an end. So I have a video queued up that I wanted to show you guys. It's something that I spoke about on social media the other day, and it's been making the rounds. And I think this guy said it really well. He encapsulated the frustration and the bitterness that a lot of Black people are experiencing when they wake up to the truth. And I think more people need to see it. So with that said, let's get into it.
Yeah, so I just wanted to come on here and get some shit off my chest. Because for about the past, 2 weeks maybe, I've seen a lot of Black celebrities and media personalities and so-called journalists make it their business to try to shame and denigrate and shit on and insult the intelligence of Black men because they don't want to vote for Kamala Harris. They are actively out here villainizing Black men for not wanting to vote for Kamala Harris. And I said it before and I will say it again. They think they own us. They think they own our fucking vote. They want us to believe that we have some sort of obligation to them, that when it's right for them, we should play identity politics and vote for her because she's Black. Yep. And now they're pushing the narrative that we're dumb, that we're uneducated, we're misinformed, we don't know what the fuck is going on. And the crazy thing about it is, it's the complete opposite. The people who are running away from Kamala Harris are the people who are informing themselves, who are researching, that actually know what the fuck is going on and just not letting themselves be told any goddamn thing. That's the reality of the situation. So, it's astonishing to me to see it though. where you have these people, they sending out these black women and these boot-licking ass men, right? The Van Joneses, the Bakari Sellers, the Roland Martins, right? The D.L. Hugleys, even Plies, and it's a whole bunch of them who are trying to shame black men for thinking for themselves, because that's all they doing. We're thinking for ourselves. They're just like when a slave owner didn't want you to learn how to read. Because once you learn how to read, you have knowledge, and knowledge is fucking power. And that's the problem. No, watch MSNBC. Don't do no thinking. Let us tell you what to think. Huh? Don't you want to see a black woman president? Don't you want to see somebody who belonged to a sorority? Don't you want to see a black woman get sworn in by a black woman on Martin Luther King's birthday? A whole bunch of token shit that don't mean a goddamn thing. That's what they want us to vote for.
Right. And, you know, just to continue along the path of what I was saying before, this guy gets it. Shout out to him. Much respect. I was having a conversation with a friend of mine earlier online, and he was like, yo, man, I really appreciate what you're saying, and I agree with a lot of it, but at the same time, you know, they're both liars, you know, and we see this a lot of times, because I used to feel this way as well, you know, the false equivalency of they're both crooks or they're both liars, and to a certain degree, I understand, because that's true to a certain degree. I mean, first of all, just from a top-down perspective, any politician or, you know, powerful person in any government anywhere in the world is going to be a little bit of a liar. You know what I mean? You're going to be able to expose lies and inconsistencies and, you know, maybe even some wrongdoings or misgivings, some sort of crooked behavior, so you call it. The question is to what degree? Because really what you got to understand is, and this is what the hard pill you got to swallow. You know, some people will call it the red pill, but whatever you want to call it, the truth is what we need to start paying attention to, particularly as men, is paying attention to how the world really works, right? You want to talk about conspiracy theories that might even be true, but things like, you know, they just want to distract you, the Matrix, Hollywood, the media. There's an element of truth to that for sure. I'm not going to get into it right now, but there's definitely an element of truth to that. However, even if you remove that, let's say you don't agree with that, you don't believe in it, whatever. Even if you remove that, you need to realize how the world works, all right? It's a game. And when I say that, I don't mean it's a joke, right? It's a competition. You have other countries, other entities, people that are vicious, ruthless, opportunistic, you know, or have those type of agendas. They're going to do what's best for them and their civilization or their culture in their mind. And America has to do the best of what's best for us. So there's going to be an element, you know, it's chess, not checkers. There's going to be an element of, you know, backstabbing or doing deals with other sides. That's just the way the world works. Get over it. Accept it. That's the way the world works. But to bring it back to the whole, they're both liars. The reason why I take exception with that is because, you know, I wasn't a Trump fan. I didn't vote for Trump in 2016. I couldn't stand Trump, you know, leading up to the 2020 election. I started to notice some inconsistencies. I opened my mind. I had a lot of debates with friends of mine who were on the other side that I would vehemently disagree with. They were Republican. And I'd be like, what are you talking about? And, you know, it took me going back and being like, all right, I don't agree with them, but I don't agree with them. And I also don't really know what I'm talking about. So I need to do more research. I need to dig into the issues a little bit more and figure out where the disconnect is, you know, really in an effort to prove them wrong, to be honest with you. And after doing that research, I slowly started to realize, well, you know, that one thing that he said, that he was right. Damn, it's true. Damn, I thought that was a lie. I thought that I believed the media or, you know, shows that I thought that were like kind of anti-establishment, let's say like a Bill Maher or something like that. It's like, oh, he's funny. He pushes back. Yeah, that's true. But he's super, super liberal. And, you know, at the time, I grew up liberal. I'm from New York. I didn't think there was a problem with that. But when you start to notice that even those types of shows, they're not digging deep into the narratives and dissecting them and really coming at them from an unbiased perspective. So what I started to see was a lot of the shit that they say about Trump is just flat out not true. What they said about him leading up to the election, the first time in 2016, what they said about the policies he was pushing out. And then, of course, they attack his personality. They attack what he said here or there. It's all bullshit, right? Because like you said, oh, they're both liars, right? Both sides are evil. But the one thing that most people don't talk about, and this is something I've been talking about on X a lot recently, is Trump is not a Republican. Y'all got to get that through your head. He's not a classical Republican. In fact, if you remember, when he ran for president, the entire right, the GOP, they hated him. They had Jeb Bush queued up, ready to go. And Trump came along and ran against all of their narratives. You know, the Iraq war was a disgrace, and, you know, they lied to you, weapons of mass destruction. These are things that people would say on the left. And Trump was saying it in front of the Republican GOP, their party, destroying all of them, right? The Iraq war was a disgrace and they lied to you. The media is lying to you. What else did he say? You know, he said that the deep state was his major thing. Drain the swamp. These are all things that, like, somebody when he ran, like an Obama, was, you would have thought like, oh, on the left, we're gonna get the crooks out of the government, even though he was in bed with them. But this is what Trump was saying to the Republicans. So yeah, he's got an R in front of his name, but really, if you think about it, what he did was he stole the Republican Party from the establishment classic Republicans, and he kind of reshaped the party around a new set of beliefs that is in line with a lot of the Republican good economic policies and foreign policies and things like that, at least the non-war policies. And he introduced or brought over more middle of the road, centrist, center left independents and liberals. And that's what the MAGA movement is. And of course, they started demonizing him for that. But if you look at it like that, you have to realize he's essentially a third party candidate that's just running as a Republican. I mean, people talk about RFK. RFK is an independent, but he's a lifetime Democrat. His uncle was literally one of the most famous Democratic presidents of all time. His entire family are Democrats. So just because he decided to run as an independent because the Democrats wouldn't allow him to run under the D label, right? He's still a Democrat at heart. He's just running as an independent. And he probably doesn't really agree that much with the far left because they've gone insane, right? So if he's not a Democrat, then why is Trump automatically a Republican? He's not. That's the answer. Well, let's get back to the video.
Y'all out your motherfucking minds, man. I was listening to Ricky Smiley. Ricky Smiley talking about in regards to black men, they not doing the right research. What? Who the fuck you talking to, Ricky Smiley? They not doing the right research. So because we're thinking for ourselves, we're not doing the right research. We're supposed to listen to you. That's the right research. And we're going to just keep seeing more and more of this shit. Joy Reid telling black people, you're going to look weird. What the fuck, we in the 6th grade? Don't nobody give a fuck about looking weird. We worrying about the issues, the economy, our communities, our children, our futures. What the fuck you talking about looking weird? See, that's the dumb shit. See, that's for weak-minded people.
And so as I was saying, you know, this guy's really hitting the nail on the head. And he's making a really good point, because if you don't have a strong enough mind to look at what the Matrix is putting forth, right? You see the propaganda, and come on, you got to have a brain in your head. You know it doesn't make sense, but you just eat it up. Like, oh, I'm black. I gotta vote for the Democrats. That's just what we do. You're essentially a slave. I mean, no hyperbole. You're a slave. You know, the Democrats will be the first ones to say, "Oh, MAGA is a cult." Tell me what's more of a cult than saying blue no matter who, which is a very popular phrase that all different types of people who either call themselves Democrats or just liberals but vote Democrat, they'll say that. Oh man, you know, I don't really love the candidates, but it's blue no matter who. That's a fucking cult. Like, what's going on here? How is that not a cult? You're saying that you're so indebted to a party that they could put up anybody and you'll vote for them. I mean, when Trump said, "Oh, I could get shot, I could shoot somebody on Fifth Avenue, and my supporters would still like me," they're like, "Oh, he's a cult leader." But then people say blue no matter who, which essentially means your 5-year-old brother could run for president, and if he's on the Democratic side, well, we got to vote for him. And that's what they're doing right now. You got this joke of a candidate, Kamala Harris, running out there, slurring her words and talking in circles. And just a few weeks ago, she was the least or had the lowest approval of a vice president in fucking history. Democrats didn't like her. The media didn't like her. Everybody was making jokes. Where's she been? What has she done? She's not doing shit. She was the border czar. She didn't even go to the fucking border. She had an interview on live TV. Well, it probably wasn't live, but on national TV, where they specifically finally ask a question. Well, you're in charge of the border. How isn't it like weird? Do you find it odd that you haven't? There's reports that say you haven't been to the border, and she's like, I haven't been to Europe either. Bruh. Are you kidding me? Man, listen, let's get back to the video.
Love the black man in his own opinion until he stops seeing himself as a victim, and then he becomes the enemy. And I'm watching this shit happen in real time. It's happening right now. And all you got to do is keep your eyes open, pay attention, and you can see it clear as day. This shit is real. The Van Joneses, the Bakari Sellers, the Roland Martins, right? The D.L. Hugleys, even Plies, and it's a whole bunch of them who are trying to shame black men for thinking for themselves, because that's all they doing. We're thinking for ourselves. They're just like when a slave owner didn't want you to learn how to read. Because once you learn how to read, you have knowledge, and knowledge is fucking power. And that's the problem. No, watch MSNBC. Don't do no thinking. Let us tell you what to think. Huh? Don't you want to see a black woman president? Don't you want to see somebody who belonged to a sorority? Don't you want to see a black woman get sworn in by a black woman on Martin Luther King's birthday? A whole bunch of token shit that don't mean a goddamn thing. That's what they want us to vote for. Y'all out your motherfucking minds, man. I was listening to Ricky Smiley. Ricky Smiley talking about in regards to black men, they not doing the right research. What? Who the fuck you talking to, Ricky Smiley? They not doing the right research. So because we're thinking for ourselves, we're not doing the right research. We're supposed to listen to you. That's the right research. And we're going to just keep seeing more and more of this shit. Joy Reid telling black people, you're going to look weird. What the fuck? We in the 6th grade? Don't nobody give a fuck about looking weird. We worrying about the issues, the economy, our communities, our children, our future. What the fuck you talking about looking weird? See, that's the dumb shit. See, that's for weak-minded people. And they just going to keep going, bro. You get all the narratives is going to keep going. Sellout, coon, traitor, you hate black women and all that cool shit. Bakari and Van Jones up on CNN crying and boo-hooing. Don't nobody give a fuck.
Nope.
Too smart to fall for that shit, man. So y'all could keep rolling.
I mean, I feel, like I said, I feel his pain, and that's where we're at right now. We're at a place where a lot of people, thankfully, are starting to wake up, and you have a lot of people that aren't so sure yet. You know, they're on the fence, and they're looking for a reason. I'll give them that. They're looking for a reason to potentially, you know, I don't want to say abandon the Democrats, but they're looking for a home. They're like, all right, I don't like what I'm seeing on the left, and, you know, Democrats, okay, maybe I just won't vote or whatever, you know, but we got to participate. We got to participate. You can't want to be taken seriously and want your voice to be heard and want to see a difference or a change in society, and then sit back and you don't do shit about it. Because this is how they win. They win by brainwashing you. They win by lying to you. And they win by beating you down emotionally to where you either contribute and use your voice, your power to make a change, or you're so demoralized you just eject and pull out of the system, and then you're irrelevant. So either way, they win. The only way you win is by making yourself more knowledgeable of the issues, paying closer attention, looking into history. And when I say history, I mean like really independent history. You got to look at multiple different sources. You got to watch things that push the boundaries of what you're comfortable of watching. And then you can question it and be like, okay, I don't know if I agree with this. And then go research some of the things you might have seen in a documentary or read in a book or whatever, and cross-reference them, see which ones align. And you'll slowly start to, these sources have better information than these sources. And really what you'll start to notice when you do that is that a lot of what you've been told, or what you remember that you were told, I don't remember hearing about that. That's not the story I remember when we were growing up or in school or whatever. Yeah, those were super surface level narratives that you were taught. We were all taught them. A lot of us believed those things. And when you look into it, it's just not true. And it's not even controversial. It's factually there for you to go find for yourself. Most people just don't do it. And the media damn sure isn't going to tell you. You got to do it for yourself. With that said, let's see if we can get into some more of those facts for you. So I got something here for you. That's what we're going to do. Let's bring that over. Okay. Let's take a look at some of those facts.
Democrats fought a war to keep their slaves. Republican President Abraham Lincoln issued the Emancipation Proclamation, freeing all slaves in America. Democrat slave owners were furious. Lincoln made equality for all black people part of the official Republican Party platform. Republicans wrote and passed the 13th Amendment, ending slavery forever in the United States. Most Democrats voted against it. Republicans wrote and passed the 14th Amendment and granted citizenship and equal protection under the law to former slaves. No Democrats voted for it. Republicans wrote and passed the 15th Amendment, allowing black Americans the right to vote. No Democrats voted for it. The first black senator was a Republican. The first black member of the U.S. House of Representatives, a Republican and former slave. In fact, the first 23 African-American members of Congress were all Republican. While Republicans were electing black people to Congress, the Democrats were founding the KKK.
Facts.
The KKK was founded in opposition to the Republican Party. The KKK dedicated itself to a campaign of violence against Republican leaders and voters, both black and white. The KKK wanted white supremacy fulfilled through electing Democrats. Democrat states passed racist Jim Crow laws that dehumanized black people. Republican President Dwight D. Eisenhower sent the National Guard to protect black students, integrating into all-white schools in Little Rock, Arkansas. Who opposed this? The Democrats who ran that state. A segregationist Democrat ran for president every cycle until the 1980s. The Civil Rights Act outlawed discrimination on the basis of race, color, religion, or sex. By percentage, more Republicans voted for the Civil Rights Act than Democrats. Republican President Nixon used federal powers to desegregate even more states. Black Supreme Court Justice Clarence Thomas nominated by George H.W. Bush. His son, George W. Bush, started an AIDS program that saved over 13 million lives, mostly in Africa. President Trump restored funding to historically black colleges and universities. President Trump passed the First Step Act, achieving landmark criminal justice reforms. President Trump passed the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act, which featured opportunity zones incentivizing long-term investments in low-income communities.
Facts.
Under President Trump, unemployment for black Americans fell to the lowest number Americans have ever seen, and black wages rose to the highest numbers in history. Meanwhile, Democrat governor of Virginia wears blackface multiple times and remains in office while Joe Biden tells me I am not black unless I vote for him. So tell me, who are the real racists? Who wants to keep you in bondage? Be free. Live free. That is my right as an American.
There you have it. All right. That's some history for you right there. And, you know, there's a lot more than that out there, to be honest with you. But these clowns, man, oh my God, it's so frustrating. It's actually infuriating that it's not even about convincing you or forcing you to pick a side or anything, you got to just ask yourself a question. Why don't they tell you? Why are these facts not talked about more? Right? How come the anti-racism, quote unquote, liberal media, why aren't they talking about this? Why do they paint Republicans as being the bad guys, as if they were just the bad guys? They're the racist ones. They were the ones that, you know, when they talk about the Confederacy and the Confederate soldiers, and everybody just automatically associates that with Republicans. Not just the Republicans, the Confederates. It's like that's not the same thing, right? And then you have people who will think, and once again, I've been there, right? But you gotta open your mind when you're presented new information, right? It's that simple. The information is there. You can't live in denial. For what reason? What do you owe the Democrats? Who are they to you? I don't understand, right? Because Barack Obama was a black president and he was a Democrat. That's it. That's all it takes. How is that different from putting a black dude in the slave master's house and he's the house nigga? How is that any different? Oh, well, he's in the house and, you know, they prop him up and he lives good and, you know, he has power. He could tell everybody else what to do. We all know the president isn't like the most powerful person in the world like it seems like they are, right? You got lobbyists, you got the big banks, you got the military industrial complex, you got the three-letter agencies, CIA, FBI, NSA. These people have a lot of power, right? The president has power, but these people have a lot of power. So, you know, Obama's not flat out just running the show, just like no president is. They gotta work within these different agencies. And some of them are willing to push back and others are not. And the point being, just because you got Obama in there, it's just a carrot. They're just dangling a carrot. And I'm sick of seeing black people just eat it up, right? They're treating us like ignorant fools on some real shit. In fact, that Civil Rights Act that he was talking about, when Lyndon B. Johnson signed the Civil Rights Act, you can go look this up for yourself. He famously, first of all, he was a famous, well-known, devout racist. This is a fact. He didn't want to sign the Civil Rights Act. The only reason he really signed it was because, you know, JFK had been pushing it and, you know, he just got killed recently. It was this whole big thing. And the story goes, you know, they put the paper or they presented it to him to sign the bill. And he goes, you know what, fine. We'll sign the bill and we'll have the niggas voting for Democrats for the next 200 years. That's a quote. Sure enough, that was in the 60s. I was born in the 80s. And from the entire life that I can remember, the Democrats were pretty much, I mean, black people pretty much associated predominantly with the Democrats, to the point where anybody who was black, who was a Republican, was called a sellout or a traitor, or was looked at as like some sort of Uncle Tom, or you're trying to fit in. You know, even today, I'll post something talking about how, you know, Trump is not the person that people think he is, and how he's actually exactly what we need in the country right now, like seriously, and even more so than Trump, because it's not just about Trump, it's about stop listening to and buying into hook, line, and sinker the media narrative. They're just a propaganda arm, a propaganda machine. And, you know, so Republicans, while the Republican establishment has their own faults and flaws, like the Bushes of the world, I'm not huge fans of them either, but just Republicans as a whole, right? They were not the bad guys. They weren't. It was a very recent switch where all of a sudden black people started to view the Democrats as their allies. And for most of us that grew up in this generation, that's all we know. But it's a lie. It's a lie. It's manipulation. And if you're wise enough to pay attention, you'll realize it's very easy, right? This is why every time around the election, they start talking about black stuff. You know, the Bill Clinton go pick up a black baby and kiss him, and everybody flips out, right? Oh, he's not afraid of black people. Like that's all it took, right? That's pathetic, right? Hillary Clinton, when she ran for president, famously went on, I don't remember what show, and pulled hot sauce out of her purse. Like, are you fucking serious? This was her way of getting through connecting to black people. And, you know, she pulls out the hot sauce. She's like, I carry around hot sauce in my purse. I never go anywhere without my hot sauce. And the black hosts were like, do you really put hot sauce and everything and carry it around? Or are you just trying to, you know, get in good and get our vote? And she goes, is it working? And yet still, black people overwhelmingly supported Hillary Clinton. It's crazy, bro. Joe Biden's no fucking different. He's full of shit. He's a liar. Everything he said about Trump and the good people on both sides, flat out lie. Bullshit. And the media just jumped on that. And this is where you got to really pay attention. The reason why they did that with Trump is because he speaks out against the power that the same normal citizens since I was a kid always didn't like. Oh, they're crooked. You know, the same shit I told you earlier that my friend said. Oh, they're all crooks. That's what we used to say when we were kids, when we didn't really know anything. Yeah, they're all crooks. But even if we weren't accurate enough to really know the details, what we did know was that we couldn't really trust them, right? We didn't really trust them. But somewhere along the line, what they figured out was, okay, well, now Trump is saying that same thing, but he's on the other side. This isn't good because the Democrats wanted to maintain their hold, the ideological hold on black people and women as well. And he was busting up that narrative. He's on the Republican side, even though he grew up in New York and was a lifetime liberal. That's neither here nor there. But he was on the Republican side, and he's saying things like drain the swamp and the media are lying. And they're like, whoa, this is no good, because that's an attractive message. We gotta tear this guy down. And what better way to manipulate black people once again and pull them back over to the D, right? Than to make him look racist, because that's their go-to. If they can make you look racist, then black people will hate you. They won't like you, right? And by default, they will stay in power. And that's the game. They do it to everybody, by the way. And right now we're focusing on black people. But I'm going to continue showing you. They do this to women. Oh, they'll make somebody look, grab him by the pussy. They'll make him look misogynist or sexist or convict or accuse them of some crime. Whether it's true or not, it doesn't matter. Once the media gets a hold of that narrative and they start pushing it and pushing it. Look what's going on now. You got a whole bunch of people that will, damn near half the country, if not more, you're going to vote for a convicted felon without even knowing anything about the case, how bullshit the case is. They fabricated it. It's not a felony. It's going to get overturned on appeal. This whole thing is a farce. It's only so they can say convicted felon and make people who don't pay attention look at him in a bad light. Are we this stupid? Are you going to allow, forget the stupid. I find there's not many things I find offensive, right? Like, I don't care. You want to say this, you want to say that, whatever. It is what it is. Grow up, move on, right? But this, I don't like being lied to. I don't like being played for a fool. That I find offensive. And I don't know how more people don't, right? You're going to allow the media to just lie straight to your face like a little kid, and you're just going to just soak it up. And not only are you going to soak it up, you're going to then go parrot that message and fight their fake battle for them. When the truth is, they're just creating this army of hatred so you can do their bidding. And everybody's fighting this back and forth war about, Trump's a racist. He's not a racist, but he's a convicted felon, or, he hates all Muslims, or whatever bullshit of the month flavor that they want to, throw out there. And they've gone so far where now they even got They even got white people hating themselves, right? There's a famous joke from Rob Snyder where he points out very astutely, talking about, you know, why reparations are stupid. And I agree 1,000%. And he says, the funny thing about reparations is, especially, you know, in a place like California, you're going to have white men who never had slaves paying money to black men that never were slaves in a state, California, that never had slaves.
Wow.
Make that make sense. And, you know, he goes on further to say that would be like making a man pay child support for a baby that isn't his to a woman that he never fucked.
You stupid.
Yo, it's fucking clown world out here, man. It's fucking clown world. And on that note, let's take a look at some of that white guilt right now, because this shit is it's disgusting. I can't even watch it, to be honest with you.
Get out and vote and donate. And she's also a historic candidate. You know, it's going to be the first woman president. And that's incredibly exciting. And, you know, she's Indian, she's black, she's everything. You can be more than one thing. It's incredible. You know, I'm Jewish and Irish. I wish I was black every year.
Yo, we're going to bring that back real quick. He didn't just say that. He didn't just say that. No.
White Jewish guy wishes he was black. You know,
Oh,
and vote and donate and like take advantage. This is such an important time right now, and this wave of energy that's happening, we got to keep going with it. So please do everything you can.
listen, man. That's embarrassing, bro. I wish I was black. I used to be such a fan of Ben Stiller, man. But this is a shame. We're at a pivotal moment in the country right now. We really are. We got to get it together, man. We got to get it together. I need every black person with a brain cell left in their head that has not been brainwashed into disintegration by the crooked liberal media and the Democratic establishment. I need you to take your balls in your fucking hand and vote for Donald Trump. Wake the fuck up. All right? You see what's going on? You probably don't see what's going on. But if you scroll through X, where you can actually see unfiltered media, take a look at personal video footage from people who live in other countries, in Europe, in Britain, in Italy, in France. It's getting crazy out there. And it doesn't even matter what side you're on. What matters is that the people who live there, the citizens that pay taxes, that have kids, their rights are being taken away. This one world government, whatever you think the agenda is, the globalistic agenda, it doesn't even matter whether you agree or disagree, believe it, don't believe it. The facts on the ground are people are suffering. In New York City, in Clinton Hill, I believe it is, you have residents that are also waking up, and they're frustrated as fuck, because what they've seen is that because of all the illegal immigration, you have they can't even go to the local parks. And this is in the hood. You know, this is in rough areas, low income areas where, you know, New Yorkers know how to get by. They know how to survive. It is what it is. But it's so flooded with illegal immigrants that have nowhere to stay. They're just posting up outside. It's crazy. You have older black women who, they're tough. They live there. They've seen crime before, right? They're like, this is crazy. I don't know what to do. I can't go to the park. I can't, this isn't normal. You got to ask yourself, why are you supporting this shit? Not to mention the fact that if they're paying these people. They're putting them up in housing. They're giving them like debit cards and shit. And, you know, so you have these low income people who are citizens, who pay taxes, who have lived there for a long time, who have been asking for some of that stuff. And then these people come over here. They've broken the law to come here illegally. And the government's just giving it to them. In other words, they're like, all right, black people are kind of frustrated. Well, we don't give a fuck. We'll just get more people that will come into these low income areas and we'll give them money and then they'll be indebted to us. So if you're starting to wake up, bye, you can leave. We don't have any more use for you. We'll just bring in more people that will be indebted to us and then we'll get their vote. So they're showing their true colors that they never really gave a fuck. And I mean, I suppose we should be thankful for that. But at the end of the day, you still need to wake up. You need to wake up to that reality. Let's take a look at that.
Some here are frightened now just to go outside.
Now it feels like that whole section is just not available to the community
asking our local elected
anymore.
So
our parks are not available to
Can't go there.
anymore.
Search out and give us a list of all of the empty
can't go
lots
to the
that
parks.
there are.
Migrants from a 4,000-bed shelter nearby fill the sidewalks. They sit on park benches, on stoops and curbs, under the BQE overpass. So many people crowded in here, residents feared what was coming.
We have been witnessing the escalation in violence on the street and in the community for months now.
We've been pleading with the mayor, as we've seen increased violence, that this was going to be inevitable.
And on Sunday night, it came. 2 people were murdered here, a third critically injured, just outside one of the 2 adjacent shelters in Clinton Hill. It is a neighborhood now, pleading for help. Residents came together tonight to demand the city provide more protection for them now and move to downsize the 2 enormous and crowded migrant shelters in Clinton Hill.
There is simply no universe where you can cram 4,000 vulnerable people together safely. Do you believe us now? How many more murders will it take?
This video is responsible for the 2 Sunday night murders. In the video, he appears to be putting a gun in his waistband. The mayor today didn't offer much hope, saying police are looking at a violent Venezuelan street gang as the people behind the shootings.
They're extremely dangerous. We're dealing with violent individuals that are not representative of the overwhelming number of people who are coming here as migrant and asylum seekers.
No one has yet been arrested for those murders on night, and that definitely hasn't made anyone here feel any safer. Police say they know who they're looking for, they just haven't found him yet. In Clinton Hill, Jim Dolan, Channel 7.
So, yeah, man. You've seen it for yourself, right? Everything I've told you is absolutely happening. And while this information is out there and while a lot of people are starting to wake up, and I'm gonna continue saying that because I personally feel, as somebody who was on the left, and it took some time for me to wake up to a lot of these lies and to learn more about history and the economy and how the world works, and I'm still learning. I feel obligated to share that message with more people because this is a serious election. You know, I'm going to leave you with this. There's a well-known kind of tactic that we all kind of understand, right? That oftentimes when somebody's accusing you of something, it's because they're doing it. And for the last 4 years, I want to say, maybe longer, Democrats have just been beating the drum. Oh, we got to fight for democracy. We got to save the country. Fascism is on the rise and all these things. And I've told you how almost all of their claims, I've showed you some of them, they're all lies. They're the ones that are opening up the border, bringing in a bunch of low-income workers, replacing the citizens of the country, pushing out the sitting president, installing a new candidate, Kamala Harris, with no election. That's not fucking democracy, right? They're saying all that, they're gaslighting you. They're saying all the things that they're doing. They're fucking removing the democratic process and installing a new president. They're the most racist ones. All they talk about is fucking race. They're race baiting. They're talking about how Trump was the most divisive candidate. Everything they said about him and his divisiveness was a lie. So ask yourself, who really started the divisiveness? I mean, just think about this for a second. The man's phrase was, "Make America Great Again." That's it. Who turned that into a racist message? It wasn't Trump. Who did that? And on that note, I'll see you next time.